some rules for discussion. I statements are always valid if they're honest. If you say, I think this, I feel this, and are being authentic, then nobody else can say to you, yeah, sure. Okay, we shouldn't laugh, we shouldn't demean. We assume that they're honest and best qualified to know what they're saying. So you can, however, ask for information. So if somebody says, well, I believe that Shakespeare used to badger the frauds, you have a right to say, I don't understand what badger the frauds means. It doesn't mean anything, I just made that up. So you can ask for information, but don't ask them to defend their position. Ask them to give you more detail. One of the hardest things that I have to do is when we get to the group area, when you start reporting out to me, is I have to avoid saying, well, I hear what you think, but I think differently, because I don't want to challenge you that way. I don't want you to have to defend your position. Some of what you will say represents beliefs that are different from other beliefs that people hold. That's okay. Okay, you may be free to change your belief or not. You can hold on to it. I don't have to make you a convert in this workshop. It's not the point. The important issue for the workshop is to notice what kinds of things mediate positions or beliefs. That is, what kinds of things help people to modify their positions or beliefs, and where they come from. And part of that will be, or not, in this discussion. The first thing I want to do is, in every group, there's somebody who's furthest away from me. That's you and you. The person immediately next to you is the secretary for this position. So you and you are the reporters, okay? It will be your job to report out what are the three best ideas in each category from the group. So we have 3 positive statements, 3 negative statements. Want another piece of paper? What? There you go. One for you, one for me. And I'll take notes on the screen and I'll share them with you. But here's the rule. You should each take turns reading your statements. Everybody listen. Okay, ask for clarification if you need it. Okay, don't make people defensive. And when everybody's had a chance to read all six of the statements, or however many they generated, you guys get to say, we like these 3, we like these 3 in each category. Clear understanding? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we'll clock you for 15 minutes if we need it. Please start.
Sticking to the seat. All right. Okay. We all have 3. We all have 3 for negatives, because I have.
Are you recording?
Yeah, I'll record. Yep. And the secretary.
You are.
You didn't know Shakespeare.
Okay. So I guess we'll just start and go around.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you say
So the positives were that I appreciate the meaning and messages like in his work once I get it. I enjoy his work more when I make the choice to read it. And Midsummer Night's Dream I put as a positive because that was like my favorite. I loved that play that we read. My negatives were having to read lines and passages over and over sometimes to gain understanding. Being forced to read and analyze and take notes on his work was a negative feeling, and I just have a strong association between Shakespeare and working, you know, instead of pleasure, which normally reading for me is a pleasure. So.
Mine were that what I liked was the fact that his writing is mysterious, and that is very creative. I like the fact that he lived his dream and his writing, and he put his life into words. So in many ways, I thought he was a very great communicator, that sense about his own life. And the negative, I think it's difficult to stay with the storyline. It can be confusing. And it takes work to sort it out. Yeah, to sort it out. And the language itself is period dated. So trying to define words. for us today. It's difficult.
Hi, Christine. So I put, for positive feelings, I really like how he develops his characters to reflect human nature. You can really feel, you see their flaws and their mistakes, and you feel like you're a part of them. You know, he takes parts of humanity very well. You really get to know them, and you're either for them or against them. He does a good job with that. I put also that his stories are very timeless and they're still credible in modern society. There was the Romeo and Juliet movie that came out in the late 90s, and it was still just as, you know, it held the same amount of meaning nowadays as it did back then. And I put, the last one I was kind of struggling. I'm like, what else? So I put his plays hold a unique perspective. He's kind of a risk taker when it comes to, you know, he's daring. You know, he had Ophelia, who's this mentally, you know, insane, not all there woman. And I'm sure back in that time you didn't talk about, you know, the problems with people. So. And for negative things, I only came up with 2. I have his language is difficult to understand. I remember being in high school, and he made us read, like, Macbeth, and I just had the hardest time. But when the teacher actually broke it down and made it attainable, that's when my love started for him. I think that if it gets translated, then it's much more beneficial than trying to figure it out on your own. And I put his work can be very melodramatic and at times depressing, and it's kind of, you know, puts you in it's like reading a Stephen King novel. You know, it's just a weird place. Yeah. So those are my 3, my 2, I guess.
Yeah, mine are a lot of overlap, but I love the rhythm and the sound of the Shakespeare. The words that he used, whether I can understand them or not, I like the sound of them and the cadence of them. It just blows me away that he was able to write that way and get his message across. Other things are my personal experiences have been positive with plays. My friend directs and is in plays. She's a teacher in the system. Friday and Saturday at Stratford at Booth Park. They put them on every summer. Yeah, they're every Friday and Saturday. So.
Did you go to that one this weekend?
No, I've been busy all weekend.
Oh.
But I plan to go this weekend. Plus, I have another friend who's in the Edgerton Park Shakespeare play. So that's another friend who's in plays that I want to see. Just a personal connection, and I visited Shakespeare's home, and it just feel like somehow I know him a little bit because it's a personal connection. Stratford upon Avon in England.
Oh, in England?
Yeah. And you go into his house and they're all little and you hear about his children. I don't know, it just makes you, yeah. And again, it continues to be pertinent. The issues still dealing with those same issues. For me, again, the confusing language.
That seems to be a common.
Yeah.
I'm writing that one down.
I miss sections, like I'm come and go. It's like you know, I'm okay, and then if I relax, I miss stuff, and I get frustrated with some of the characters. It's like, come on, just you know, you want to just do this to them. It's like they're creating such havoc for themselves and there be people around them that they can get frustrated. And I'm also feel like I'm missing background knowledge because they talk about gods and goddesses and ancient history that I'm not up on. So I think there's some things that I miss that are pertinent that would enrich it for me more. So those are the.
Sorry. So as far as so as far as you know, the positive feelings, we kind of all align. The timeless, yeah, how everything is still pertinent today.
That visual.
The
Yeah.
pain is bad. I just took a leave. I don't like taking medicine.
Should we
I'm trying to
paint
think what
that
else we kind of.
Oh, so bad when you were talking. Did you see my face?
I'm gonna show you a little stretch in the other room.
The fact that he
I
can
took 2 a leave.
say,
I had to give in.
So the
he'll have a
comfortable
sentence
position I
that
found is
says
laying on the
so
floor.
much
Mhm.
and is so
Yeah.
pertinent
It's-
over
there's
hundreds
like
and
the same
hundreds
thing,
of
it's called a
years.
baby.
Right,
We all
yeah.
agree
The
he's a
baby.
position, you
You
and
grab
Eliza
it,
is a great
lay on
communicator,
the
but I
floor, you
think
grab the
it's,
bottom of your feet.
He
pull it
is.
down,
He
but it
tells
like
good stories.
brings
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does.
It really helps.
communicator.
And no, you're not doing it here. I'm just. I'm never gonna get anything written with her sitting next to me. Okay.
Stretching.
All right, I think
And you see
I'll take
other
another one.
stories, you know, like West Side Story,
glucose,
all these things
Has
that
everybody had
are,
a chance to share?
glucose,
That could be
Just
fun.
share.
glucose.
Yeah, we didn't
there's
write it
so
all
many
down.
stories
This
from
is
that,
fun.
from
Yeah.
his
It's like
stories.
glucose.
Oh, the chondroitin stuff, does that really work?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to try it, I don't have any.
I'm going to my acupuncturist tomorrow, so
Oh.
she's gonna have to go all the way up. She's gonna have to put them in here. I'm gonna videotape it for you.
Yeah.
That's your final
That's your
Okay.
presentation, huh? Sounds good.
I'm gonna do it.
You should have her come in and, you know,
She
Poke
said-
each of us.
She said if that's
Take a
my
needle.
project, she offered to come in.
yeah. Because
We're
I would
not
never
there
go
yet.
someplace
We're
to
not
have
there
that
yet.
done.
You know, with my ending project, I don't know if that's what I wanna grab onto.
Yeah.
So
I'm in that same place. Like, I'm doing one because it's,
And it's so it's so hard to have them come in if it's not perfect.
Yeah.
that can be part of the project though, you know?
Well,
So,
I don't wanna insult her.
you had an open mind.
Okay, so
It's
we're,
good that you're sticking with it.